Hey everyone. This is cool to be back here. I know not much of this room knows who I am. It's cool, but like it's so awesome to see all these faces here from this group that started like a decade ago. So this is just freaking awesome. And to Levi and the crew who has been running this team, amazing work. It's the first time I've been back in like years. Been busy, and this is just really astonishing to see. So congratulations, everyone. So cool. All right. So for tonight's event, let's talk about this for a moment. I can't imagine there's a single person here. If so, don't be afraid. Raise your hand if there is anyone that has not engaged with AI. All right. This couple? Cool. And are you excited to see how to do so this evening? Kind of. Back there? All right, hell yeah, there we go. Woo, yeah, there we go, sweet. Okay, so let me explain just a few things that we're going to do tonight. We're going to talk about kind of the state of AI, some philosophy behind it a little bit. We're obviously going to engage in a bit of a competition up here. In between some of that dead space while they're working, we may pull some audience people up here to just kind of talk about how you're using AI in your workplace, what you love about it, what you hate about it, where you see it heading, just polling the community, talking about this big state of change in our industry. So if you're interested in that, be ready, be thinking about things you might want to talk about. So just kind of have that queued up. So we have that going. And the overall activity, if you're not familiar with this kind of shootout concept, if there's any OGs in the group, you've seen and been to some of these sessions, the idea is quite simple. It was born out of, hey, look, there's so much technology for all of us to learn. It would be cool if a group of people could sit down and try and solve the same problem using different resources and different technologies, thus providing the audience a way to see many different ways to tackle a problem, right? That's the old idea. And so we've done this with JavaScript frameworks. We've done it with cross-platform mobile building tools, content management systems, and it made sense to bring this to the AI realm. So here we are with that. One thing about me is I have a bias towards action and getting things done. The AI world is a little annoying in that sense because there is an awful lot of fiddling around and not actually accomplishing anything. And I get it. Hey, we got to explore these tools. That's all part of it. But I wanted to take this opportunity to present a challenge to this group to do more than just Vibecode something out, right? And so they have been presented with a set of challenges that I'll explain here in a moment that they will attempt to accomplish. And if any of them accomplish the full list, there is one final criteria that they will be judged on, which will be their adherence to design. So they're going to be building a web application. They've been given a design that has been produced by a designer. So this isn't just a, hey, anything goes here. There's an actual spec that has to be, adhered to. And that'll be kind of the final judgment there. If anybody accomplishes this full list, it will be quite impressive and worth playing back and studying exactly what they did. So that's kind of the idea of this. A little bit of an experiment. No idea how great it's going to go. Could flop. Could be amazing. Who knows? So, can I control? Yeah. It's in the channel. Yep. And I can talk about it too. It's not too crazy, but I wanted everyone really to see the design is kind of the big thing. So what are we doing here? I've got a pet project of mine that I've kind of crafted over many years. It's a very simple concept. I'm an avid movie quoter. Any movie quoters in here? Yeah. There we go. Oh, sorry, kids. Yeah, heck yes. long time ago, I mean, YouTube was, really kind of first hitting the scene, and I wanted to just respond to people with like a YouTube link of just this quote from this movie, and YouTube would upset me every time because it would either not be there, it would be the worst recorded thing ever, or it's way too long of a clip, and I just wanted that quip. I wanted just that. So a long time ago, I built this thing, and it's really just been a tool for myself. That's it. And so I've always made it adapt nicely to like receiving a text message, right? It plays right in that video, plays right in your text message. It used to embed perfect in all the social media sites. Not so much anymore because I've been busy. Started a company a number of years back and just haven't been able to play around with pet projects anymore. So where's Melissa? There she is, hey, Melissa, hey. So Melissa is the designer of this, and this was many years ago, so I'm sure she'll be like, it's the worst thing I've ever done, don't look at it. Yeah, yeah, it's fantastic. I threw this on her, I was like, hey, can you design this really quick? She's starting to grind her teeth as a designer, and so this was like, I don't know, 3 years ago, something like that. So it's amazing, but yeah. So this has been unearthed. So what we've done is we're going to do the home page, which has a search bar. I'm going to zoom it. There we go. Yep. So yeah, this is the search bar engaged. If you scroll down a little bit, we'll see like when you actually start searching, those what the search results kind of look like as they come in. And then when you hit play, there is then a modal that comes in a little bit. Yep, right there. Yep. And plays the video. Looks like, a simple version of YouTube, basically, because that's the idea. This site exists. It's at QuipVid.com, but it's kind of in ruins, and it was from the first time I shipped this design update. I started working on it, was gung-ho, built it on a beta version of .NET, what the heck is there, Lazier. So built it on that, and it's got some bugs. So I thought, this is the perfect time to bring this back out because we've always used this project for these examples because it's bite-sized and easy to work with. You've got the concept of a video that has a title, that has a show, that has a number of views uploaded by a person. It has a thumbnail associated with it and a video file. That's the model. So what are we having them do since the site already exists? Basically just rebuild it. So the idea is to rebuild something that works and doesn't have some of the bugs this site does. So what exactly will we be building? First of all, a shippable version. That's one of the things we hope to do here. So instead of just building and running this locally, the idea is to get it out on a public repo, and if they've got access to a server, ship it. And then a public URL for any of the audience members to hit and verify that it works. So that is a full piece on there. Content management is the next piece. If they are able to add in a layer of managing this with some sort of interface so that they can go log in and click upload to manage that content, another point. Actually usable was split from that first one, so it's got to be shipped. Getting it to the server is one point, right? But actually, like, working is the other point, because points for getting it up to the server, at least, even if it's got bugs. Collaboration is the next point. If they get it up on a repo with simple enough instructions to get up and running on anybody that has a machine here, and they can pull that project down and get it up and running, preferably with a script, point there. And then if anybody accomplishes all of that, first of all, handshake to them. And then if another person does it, we jump to the design and judge that against the design files they've been given. That's everything. So, audience questions. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Questions. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay.
So is the current version on a repo? What's the stack? You said .NET. Is that the whole stack? Is there a front end?
Great question. Yep.
And is there a copyright issue with this thing? That's
Great question. Great questions. Yep. So let me explain kind of the setup that they'll be doing. First of all, we will have each one of them here once we kind of like officially say go. We're going to start on this end and go all the way down, and we're going to interrupt them and have them talk about what they're using. But the idea here when we selected the panel was to try and get a diverse set of AI tooling. But then as far as tech stack, database, language, any of that stuff, fair game. So there's no reason to rely on what was in there. But I had a very simple stack, .NET Blazor. I used a CMS that doesn't even matter. It's Umbraco. But yeah, they are paying no mind to that.
But it's on a public repo now?
It is not. Yep. But what they do have is the like mini little API layer that's in here, because I do have a mobile app as well, so there is a layer to pull from that. So they have all of this content via the API. So they got a JSON dump of all of this content in here, so they're ready to rock and roll using it. Yeah. And then as far as copyright, yeah, I don't know. That was the thing. It was the thing from the beginning. Yes, and I always had this idea like, hey, you can mold clips together to make like super clips, and then that would fall under like parody clause, maybe. And whatever. There's other sites like this out there that are much better.
Slap an AI generated logo on it, and then you're good.
Yes.
Even if it's not AI generated.
Yep. So huge. More questions. Sorry.
If we wanted to do this at home, where would we go to look?
Oh gosh, that's a great thing to even talk about, kind of while we're letting them code and such, and maybe save it for that. So, yep, great thing to talk about. Let's do. I hate doing the show of hand things, but I'm just curious. Let's kind of break up. Where would you consider yourself on I know I'm like an AI pro, if anybody can even call themselves that, being so new, but like who kind of feels like they really have a pulse on what's going on with like AI stuff as far as using it for work productivity and your job? All right, and okay, and then like medium, kind of like decent. That's kind of what I expected. So mostly in the median, and then kind of, yes. This is all new stuff, and the stuff changes weekly. And so what we're about to see here is probably going to be irrelevant, a month from now. But it's the focus on actually outputting something that is going to catapult you through kind of this era, staying focused on actual output and building something. So it's the focus of this difficult exercise. All right, I think we can go ahead and like officially start, yeah? And then we'll start here on the end. Is it Kevin? Yep. And have Kevin talk about the technology he's going to be using.
Hello. Okay, I am using Google products for this. Google Jules and Gemini. I have never used Jules, so this is going to be interesting. And Gemini just through the command line. So that's pretty much all I got.
Have you, so would they each kind of got a head start back there? Just curious, have you kind of honed in on any of your tech stack as far as language, database, what have you?
Okay, so I went with a Laravel setup just because I know the ins and outs of that really well. Excuse me. So that's all set up locally. I got ngrok set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocking.
And the repo, so we can get some collaborators in here.
Woo! Do it. Wow, all right. Already off to the races.
Here we go.
Okay, pass it on. Let's go. All right. What AI tooling are you using over here?
I'm using Claude Pro and my own little AI running in my basement.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
I'm running Claude Pro and my little AI running in my basement.
Oh, so you've got a server running at home that you're. Okay, this is going to be cool to hear more about later. What, have you honed in on any tech stack pieces?
I'm using Python, and I don't know about the front end yet.
Python, not sure on the front end yet. Cool. Right. Sweet. Crush it. Hey, interrupting. This end over here is sleeping. What AI tooling? What are you rocking?
I'm using JetBrains AI Assistant and ChatGPT Plus, but I'm doing it all in vanilla PHP. So,
Couple of PHPers up here. All right. Is this a common approach? Have you been doing this, like these tools? PHP, JetBrains, like?
no.
No. All right.
And I'm using SQLite, and I've never used that either. So here we go.
This is going to be a fun evening. All right. Get at it, Richard. Oh, yep.
I'm using ChatGPT Plus for code generation. I'm using Visual Studio Code for my IDE. And to host it, I'm using Windows IIS on Windows Server 2025 Data Center on my server at home. And I'll be using Node.js for the back end if I get to that part.
Can we give it up for IIS? I mean, yeah, here we go. That's not a common thing these days. Rock on. Rock on. Sweet. I don't know if I've got any more setup, but based on this, any questions about the setup? Any ideas?
I didn't hear databases from 1, 2, or 4.
They may not have them yet, so we'll let them crank. We won't interrupt them anymore. But I know. Did you say we didn't hear database from 2? Earlier, I heard Firebase. He didn't say it here, but it was from the meet earlier. All right, so our screen setups, we'll kind of cycle through these. Got a 4 up. Whoa, light, you said?
There we go. Thank you.
PHP. This is going to be fun. Rocking away on ChatGPT. All right. So while they're settling in, I'd be curious just to start cracking off some interviews up here. I don't know if you want to start. Feel free. For the first question about how do you do this at home. But if anybody else wants to jump up, we'll take the first victim. I just want to talk. Yep. We figured this would be a fun way to kill time while they're going at it, so we don't just have to totally stare at them. All right. Who went to the Method conference this last year? Ooh, that shirt even got a shirt on over here. Who went to the electronics session? A couple of you. I was just reminded we owe something to those audience members, and David back there is working on it, I swear. The goal is to have it out before the next Method. The goal is basically to run through a video walkthrough of it, and then send that out and be like, there you go, here's how to do the thing that we said we were going to do. Yeah, that was fun. A big thing I love to do is procrastinate, and that was one that probably shouldn't have procrastinated so long on. That was a fun thing. Where do you work?
I work at Invo Solutions. It's a video banking software company.
Ooh, video banking. Okay. How long have you worked there?
4 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can you turn my mic up a bit?
So 4 months prior to that. So not new to development, though, right?
No, I've been a software engineer for over 10 years now. Started off in e-commerce. If you're familiar with Classy Llama, I worked there for 6 years.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yep. PHP again in the house. Yep. PHP's crushing it tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So pretty seasoned developer, and now you're at video banking. Are you working? What kind of stuff are you working on, like tech stack wise?
Lately, I've been doing more so site reliability engineering, so kind of improving some of the processes and deployments and testing and stuff like that. The stack itself is Laravel and Vue. They're kind of behind on some of the versions of the stuff that they're working on, so trying to resolve some tech debt, trying to upgrade some of the dependencies, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, what would you say is the state of AI over there? Like, how would you even explain it? What are you guys doing?
Some people use it more than others. I probably use it more heavily than the rest of the team. I think I'm the only one using agentic AI. So there's pretty much everyone uses ChatGPT. We've got our own ChatGPT account with them, so we can use it as much as we want. Everyone has their own work account with ChatGPT, OpenAI. I also have an account with Claude that I pay for, or actually Windsurf, to use Claude, because I find Claude more effective in a coding context. I haven't got to use Claude Sonnet 4.5. I hear good things about it. Primarily using
It's
4.
good.
Have you found it to be pretty useful?
Yeah, definitely.
Is it much better than 4?
Yeah, oh yeah, exceedingly so.
How would you say it's been better?
Well, when you fall back to anything but it from using your code, so when you run out of your tokens or your limits or whatever, it's just kind of unusable to do anything advanced, so much so that it just stop and move on after that and wait 20 or 12 hours or whatever for my credits to fill up again.
I'd say the thing I'm most excited about is the increase in MCP servers. Like everything is getting MCP now. Laravel has MCP. Jason, if you didn't hear that, you should have heard it. You should use it. Laravel Boost. You can basically install a package and begin. It will read the documentation for you. It will. It knows what tools are available inside Laravel.
Yeah, the documentation side of thing, because Laravel's always been known for having amazing documentation.
It's also got a really nice CLI tool. So if you ever want to like create a new class that's already kind of scaffolded for you, it's right there.
Yeah, and the richness of the organization, of that content is. It's funny. You can use these AI tools better than you can most companies' documentation systems. I mean, as long as it's kind of out there, it's so much easier to use that than even scouring through their tools.
Yeah.
So as far as learning at home, sounds like you know this stuff.
What do I know?
Well, you at least know enough that you've got Claude Code, and you know that it's better than ChatGPT.
Yeah, so Claude Code would be the agent. I'm actually using Cursor on PHP Storm.
Right.
So it's Claude the AI. Claude Sonnet is the model. Claude
Right.
Sonnet 4.5. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know some of this stuff. What do you feel like you don't know? Like what do you know that you don't know?
Yeah, I really want to build an MCP server myself. I'd like to integrate into an application an MCP server so that you can basically interface with an application via that MCP server via AI agent. So, for example, one use case, if you have an application where you have real people agents that do things, if you can integrate into that application an MCP server that AI can interact with, an agent can interact with, an AI agent, then you can essentially replicate everything a person agent can do interacting with your application, an AI agent can also do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I haven't done yet, but that'd be really cool.
Who here has done that? Holy cow, right in the front row. Well, hang on. Have you done this? Have you made it, like, have you architected? Well, I want to bring you up here, perhaps. Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
All I did was copy a Postgres MCP and scaffold it so that it had specific access, RLS and specific functions and tables, and then narrowed that down with some descriptors. So when you ask it, I'm going to say people. If you ask it about people, it knows where to go to find what it needs about people and returns that information. So it's really high level, but I mean that's the seed.
Say that first part of it again. The
A
juicy part.
So I just took specifically Supabase in
Supabase,
CP.
yep.
Yeah, it's AWS Postgres
Yep, okay.
stack, and I just copied that and took out a bunch of stuff and used the MCP interface server layer
Yep.
to just connect to what I wanted it to
Yep.
on our Supabase instance.
Supabase.
Yeah.
Yep.
So did you just integrate an existing MCP server into your agent to be able to interface with
I
your?
just renamed the Supabase one and then added it into VS Code as another server.
Yeah.
And I'm just running it on Node locally.
So what I'm talking about would be building the server that interface with Supabase itself,
So this
not
it's-
just configuring the agent.
So there's the client.
Yeah.
It's more like you're building the client because they kind of switched it. Like the server, you run the server locally, and that interfaces with the MCP client. So if what you're saying is a little different, and that is a little bit more involved. But there's plenty of examples.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Laravel came out with a new package, I think a week ago, that is a package specifically to do that in Laravel, to build your own MCP server to where your application, any AI agent that can connect to your application can perform. It's giving it a set of tools that the AI agent can use to
Right.
interface with your application.
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, basically, the models are defined. Here's the data layer. Like, yeah, it totally makes sense. Kind of similar to that. I don't know if anybody does this, but my CTO, Tom Rankin, taught me this little trick. And so much of this stuff seems to boil down to just like, what are cool little tricks you figured out? And just simply connecting to any sort of database table or whatever, and simply asking like, what are some interesting insights from this, from this schema? Analyze the data and just like explain it to me, and just have it, is just kind of a fascinating thing just to figure out what you're working with, right? It's just an interesting way to explore versus the old ways of, digging through and scouring data, and yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, I find it beneficial in a lot of cases, but I don't yet know whether my view of it being beneficial is accurate, because I can begin developing something, get really far into it, think it's done, realize in that process, oh, it's actually broken, and then spend a bunch more time fixing it. Whereas if I had just started from scratch myself without using AI, it might have been just as good, if not better.
Right.
Kind of
Right.
what you were saying earlier.
Yep. The other side of that coin that is amazing, because there's a lot of, fruitless stuff that comes out of that. But one of the awesome parts of that is being able to, especially when you've been in a like software or engineering career for a while, a seasoned, pro, whatever, you are now able to explore topics that you otherwise would have stayed away from because you didn't have the time to touch that, right? Like, I mean, I always wanted to, not that I did this, but as a prime example, like, always wanted to get into C. That would be fun. And then every time I do it, I'm like, no, not in a million years. But anytime I have to touch something that low level now, it's no longer super mysterious because of tools like this. I can easily navigate, what to do, where to go, because I kind of just need a friendly pointer, and the neckbeards on the internet trying to explain, like some C stuff, like doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
So it's super cool to just be able to pick up anything, to have a working knowledge of it instantly is nuts.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that on a certain level if what you're working on is not critical, but I kind of have the opposite experience. Like, I only want to use AI in a context where I already have decent enough understanding of the tools to where I can validate it myself, because there's been enough times where I've been burned on what I do know that I would be kind of afraid to use it on something that I don't know.
Of course. Yes. Yeah. If you're in the R&D realm, it is a very nice tool. But if you're actually building stuff, yeah. that's exactly what you're going to run into.
And you might not make your teammates very happy if you're just doing stuff with AI that you don't understand, and then someone else has to come along and review that.
Right.
And be like, what is this?
Who is fresh in their career, their job, and like just like your first experience in industry is you're in the seat and you're using AI tools? Green shirt in the middle. You cool? Want to come up and chat?
Sure.
Come on up. Swapping out. Thank you very much, sir.
Well,
Before
he's
we-
coming up,
before-
we had something
yeah.
hilarious. Kevin wanted to call out that. Which one is it?
I am not using Python for this project. However, it is running Python scripts in order to, I guess, make it work. I don't know. So, well, we'll see how it goes.
Wait, I missed it. What happened?
Okay, so I'm using.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So it ran Python in the PHP project. Yes, that's right. Okay. Fun.
I mean, it might be making Python scripts in some virtual environment.
Oh, this is the
Wait to
Jewels,
find out.
Google Jewels.
Yes.
What did you find out about Jewels? Because earlier you said brand new. What did you find out?
This is the first thing I found out. So you're learning with.
Yeah. So you found out that you told it to do something. It's like
It uses Python.
Okay.
That's I found that
Fair
out.
enough. I mean, you use Python for everything now, right? So use it to write PHP. That's fun. That's fun. Real quick here, let's. We won't interrupt. He's in the zone, totally. You guys may be too. Any notable events to check in on? No? Grinding? Okay. We won't interrupt. All right. Come on in here, man. What's your name?
Hey, my name is Thomas.
Thomas. Brand new, huh?
Give it pretty
up.
fresh.
Give it up. So, just out of school, or?
Ironic, all the students are looking at me right now. I actually teach computer science classes at OTC right now. I'm an adjunct instructor, so not full-time. And I am making a plan currently in the next couple of months to start freelancing full-time for web development.
Full-time web development. So will you like do that full-time and still teach, or exclusively?
If my students are lucky, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, the goal is to continue teaching as long as they'll let me.
Cool.
Thank you, Tom.
What? You and Tom work together? This is crazy.
Yeah.
What have you guys worked together on?
Actually, we got connected through Levi here, who seems to be connected to many people, almost freakishly. And Tom just had some freelance work that he wanted a little bit of help with, a WordPress site that he's like, I can do it all, but I'd prefer to export the grunt work to somebody else. And I'm
ain't
like,
kidding.
I need a lot of grunt work in my life right now. And it worked out really well. It was really nice to have somebody who I felt like really knew what they were doing to like support me on that. And then I was able to just kind of tear into it as much as I could. And it was a really good experience.
Tom, you haven't shared this resource with me. What the hell? Bogarten. All right. It sounds like if anybody needs some good work, here we go. Yes, awesome. Okay, so explain then your entry into this world then.
Well, a number of years ago, back in this little year, you may remember it, 2020, I graduated with my psychology degree, my bachelor's in psychology, and really quickly found out that all of the jobs worth having required a master's degree, and I didn't want to get a master's degree. I didn't want the debt that came along with it, and I really needed a break from school. I was very burnt out on that. And so I had a lot of cousins. I'm sure you know the Bradshaw boys.
I am familiar, yes.
They're a bit of a crew in this town, as far as I understand.
Renowned.
Yeah. And well, I started hanging out with them a little bit more, and they're like, hey, you should totally learn development. And that's where it all started, and here I am about 3 years later.
Say no more. If anybody knows this crew, the dev blood runs deep in it. Holy buckets. Yes. So, okay. So how fresh then? Did you say like 4 months ago?
No, 3 years ago is when I started learning.
Okay.
In terms of like professional work, I've been able to accomplish a handful of paid projects, but it's still to the point where I'm trying to get that first established job, still trying to be able to make this my primary source of income. And I've tried a couple of times in the past, didn't quite make it, but I'm really feeling good about this attempt. So
nice. Very cool. And do you feel like these tools are the thing that is making, I mean, it's a little bit, because I know you're just gonna be like, no, I just osmosis that knowledge from my cousins and stuff. Okay, so how much easier do you believe that it's made your past 3 years? Because this stuff's been out for 3 years.
Right.
Past couple, seriously, but yeah.
So I will say that as far as AI goes, my experience with it is you kind of get out of it what you put into it. I think that if you know how to use it in the right ways, it can be an incredibly productive tool, but it amplifies the person and the method that they're using. So like if a really good example of this is there was a bartender at an old job that I had who was just complaining. He's like, man, I don't want to even send my kids to school anymore because it's just AI teaching them. And it's like, I'm like, dude, have AI make you a drink recipe and see if you think that'll turn out all right. The entire experience I've had behind it is if you have expertise, AI will amplify that expertise. But if you have ignorance, it will tell you lies with confidence and you won't know which one's the truth. And so you really do need to stick to the areas where you already feel confident and make sure you don't let it make you lazy.
Nailed it. So here's something I'm curious about, because I've not been in industry for a while, and one thing I'd love to see is the application of these practices, within larger businesses, smaller businesses, all of that. One thing that I find myself just so curious about, because I do see the amazing things that these tools can accomplish, but I can't help but wonder, like, holy cow, if I didn't have, my going on 18 years plus of knowledge of this stuff, it would have been so easy to lose track of this like 2 hours ago. But it was one thing, it was one like solid fundamental idea that was gained, through years and years of experience after another, like in this lineage of working on this project. So somebody who can't possibly have that just because time hasn't passed for these things to actually happen, are you cognizant of that? And how do you handle those moments to remain productive?
So with my background in psychology, I would say I'm cognizant very much. That is my bread and butter. I handle it by trying to embrace difficulty. So AI is a great tool, but we all understand that we grow through challenge, right? And there was actually a really interesting study done by MIT recently. We can't make broad generalizations from this study because it's the first of its kind and we need follow-up research. But essentially what they did is they took a group of students, they had three groups, and they came in once a week and answered essay questions for the SAT. And one group got to use ChatGPT in their to answer their questions. One group got to use Google, and one group just got to use their brains, right? And so they do that for 3 weeks, and then on the 4th week, they switch the people using their brains and the people using ChatGPT. And the entire time while they're answering these questions, they have them hooked up to EEG machines that are measuring brain activity. And so what we see is that like human brains are really, really efficient. And that means they will weaponize laziness wherever it is possible. The brain is like one of the most calorie expensive organs to run in your body. And so if there is a way that your brain figures out that it can reduce output without reducing performance, then it is evolutionarily advantageous to start reducing that amount of critical thought. And so this hypothesis was borne out in the study because the students who started using ChatGPT to answer the questions, they consistently, week over week, showed less brain activation and less connections between their neurons than any of the other control groups. And when they switched to using their brain, they showed a drastic drop in use of their networks and neurons. Whereas, interestingly enough, the students who have been using their brains, who started using ChatGPT for the first time, they actually showed an uptick in brain activity being exposed to AI for the first time because it's like, oh, it's new, it's shiny, it's really showing us all these really cool things. And it's like, I think about that nearly every day. I think that a lot of people who are using AI are seeking to remove some part of their life that is like difficult or hard because, I mean, that's the whole selling point of it, right? Let me provide value to you. But the thing that it's starting to supplement and take away is our critical thinking process. Like something as simple as writing or putting together a schedule. Like that is engaging a part of our brain that we are now going to let kind of grow flabby. And so as far as I'm using it in my learning career, I find it's very helpful on the small scale of things, like explaining syntax. So we have a lot of people using PHP tonight. I'm currently learning PHP. And whenever there's a piece of syntax I really don't understand, like what's this specific character doing in the context of this line of code? It is great for answering that question.
Totally.
But it's nearly impossible to find that on Stack Overflow.
Yes. Yeah, that's a wild thing to think about, is the contextualize intimacy of that response, tailoring it, right to that. That's so good. And you've thought about this a lot. This is good. I wonder how many people like think to philosophical depths, about some of this stuff. I'm glad to see that it's not just a small handful of us. Amazing. I'm excited for you and your journey. Do you see this being the rest of the bulk of your career? Like, I mean, do you see like this is what you're doing for like to make it as an adult?
Well, I mean, it's better than unemployment.
Of course.
I will admit, for web development, it's been a bit of a plan B for me. Plan A has always been to be a writer of some sort, but I also want to own a house at some point, and your chances of that are much higher in the tech industry, if I'm being honest. And so, like, my goal has always been find a good plan B, find stability, find security in that, and then start to pursue a deeper passion of mine when I feel like I have the safety to do that. But that being said, like, development has kind of changed me, and I'm sure that you understand this with how long that you've been in the industry, but just the way that I think differently now, the way that I approach problems, the way that I try to understand things, the patience I have for problem solving.
Yeah.
I'm at the point in my life where I can say for certain that development is never really going to leave me, but it may not be the thing I do forever.
Cool. We we say like daily, how cool would it be if just like everyone started picking up just a little bit of software development, like the same way many of us would pick up, like doing some home renovation projects, and you learn how to use like a table saw. That's a good skill. Like you learn how to use some pretty basic tools, and it can go a long ways. And hopefully, all these AI tools allow. Hopefully that's like going into the Lowe's and the Home Depot, like the rest of us, for the rest of the world to be able to start accessing these things. So, man, awesome to hear from you. Good luck with everything. This lineage, you'll be just fine. Yeah, heck yeah. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Yeah. Let's do some screen peeps.
I've actually been doing that a little bit. Who do we want to look at?
Let's just start down here with Python PHP. Still Pythoning, okay. Yeah, okay. What is the Python doing here exactly? Like it is actually generating the like TSX code?
Hey,
Whoa, hey.
we have an update.
Sweet, fill us
it
in.
It says, I have made a lot of progress on porting the design to React.
Oh yeah, switch the pivot.
You're absolutely
Here we
right.
go.
Pivot.
Using Python.
This Python and a PHP project reminds me of a story that someone told me where like someone applied for a PHP job somewhere. I think it was David told me the story. Someone applied for a PHP job, and to show off some code, they dropped a bunch of C# code into a PHP file and sent it. I think it even had the opening PHP tag.
Wait, say it again though.
So they dropped their .NET code
Yeah.
into a .php file and sent that in the job submission as
Just
their
like,
PHP code sample.
PHP Pro.
That's what this feels like, just
That
a
is
little bit.
amazing. Yes. Look at this. Oh, some Breaking Bad quotes. Oh, some Gemini. Personal anecdote. Just started using the Gemini. Well, it just came out, right? Or it's pretty new. The Gemini CLI.
For a few months.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I
think so.
Not like a week ago.
So
I got in on the latest update. I mean, it crushes everything,
So I wanted to tell you a little bit about one of the ways that I've been doing agentic stuff, because you talked about hitting limits.
Yes.
Right?
Damn limit.
So if you're okay with just like having your credit card on file with someone, you can keep going. So are you familiar with OpenCode? Have you ever heard of OpenCode?
No.
So OpenCode is like an open source, like black box reimplementation of Claude Code.
Okay.
That's meant
What?
to be connected to like any LLM provider.
Just like with your API key?
With
kind
your
of thing?
API key,
Yeah.
exactly. And they support a whole bunch of them. And they actually even launched their own service because they've like found that they can fine tune several API layers to work really good with
So
their
it just
agentic
keeps
stuff.
going.
So it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And so it works really well with a service called OpenRouter. You ever heard of OpenRouter?
Nope.
Okay.
Wait, like for not routers.
No,
right? Like,
no,
okay.
no.
Like
It's so the idea
OpenWRT?
behind OpenRouter is that it's a service that tries to wrap a whole bunch of other LLMs APIs and give you somewhat of a unified billing and interface into it. So I can go to openrouter.com, grab an API key, and plug it into OpenCode, or even just use the chat on their website and pick any LLM provider I want, and it'll just bill me based on how many tokens I used.
That's cool.
So what I've done is I go get an OpenRouter API key, pick multiple models, even in OpenCode, and I can just let it rip and spend $2,000.
How long is the longest you've let something like aggressively run?
Actually, not very much. I've only spent like $5 this way because I was I actually like ran it with Claude Code, and then I saw that like one prompt used almost $1, and I was like, whoa. I used Sonnet 4.1 or whatever, or Opus 4.1, and it just used a lot of tokens.
So rarely do you have a room full of people doing this kind of stuff. Has anybody done this kind of thing where you basically like use your API key with whatever service and what OpenCode or
OpenCode as the agentic CLI tool.
Yep.
And then OpenRouter as like the API provider behind the scenes.
So instead of hitting like your token limit, like, out of the box Claude Code, the idea here being hooking your Anthropic API key up to this thing and just letting it run just
as long as you want.
metered.
Yeah.
It just keeps anybody done this like with like big limits?
Hey, we got someone in the back.
What
people.
What kind of limits are you, or like what kind of dollar amounts are you hitting on this?
So it's that, but it's protected. It's GitHub Copilot, so it gives you access to all the models that matter. And so I got a pro account. You get a big bucket of them. I've gone over it a couple times. It's every 30 days, but you can set a budget on how much you want to go over, so you can control it. And the rate is better than it is if you're like just Claude token directly. I don't know if it's like bulk pricing or something, but you get a better rate. Yeah, but it works great.
There was one other thing I forgot that's super cool about OpenRouter is a lot of the people who make models in the first place, they actually have allowed other cloud providers to run that model on their infrastructure. So like you can go to Amazon and use Claude's models. You don't have to get them directly from Claude. So what's cool about OpenRouter is it will actually like route your requests to whichever one has the best latency at any given time or is like up. So when Claude's servers go down, you could still keep going if the Amazon versions are running.
Rocket, let's hear about your setup.
Like my setup, what I'm using today. I mean, so I'm using Cursor from IDE, and yeah, I've just been playing with a lot of stuff, man. Like a lot of stuff. OpenRouter, he was talking about. I've been playing around with that a lot. Yeah.
Have you run any like? I want to know if somebody's let like a process just rip for like, just solve the problem, run for 4 days. I don't care.
Never that long. No. But I mean, I've had stuff run for hours. Yeah.
And so like, what kind of is that like a $10 thing or is that like actually?
It's actually pretty cheap, man. Yeah, it's actually pretty cheap. I mean, I've let stuff go for a while, and I thought I was going to look at my account. It would be like $50-$60, and it used like $1.50. This stuff is so cheap. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Love it. Thanks. Yep. You should hold 2 of them. Oh, yeah. Word. That makes sense. All right, let's study these screens again. Move on to 2. Headphones has been dialed in. All right, some more Python. Is it writing PHP? Oh yeah, rocking. Cool. Seeing if we can get any clues here.
The templating option is interesting.
I don't know anything. Like Python
just
always looks
a big
gross
old
to
string
me.
in Python.
Yeah. Templating always looks gross to me in anything other than Razor.
That's true.
Yeah. Video poster. Yep. Okay. Well, I'm an interrupt. We interrupting. All right, you got to take a time out and chat with us. But bam.
Hello?
Talk to us. What's your process been?
Trial and error, basically.
Of course.
I hope so. It's not doing what I wanted to do. There is some progress, but it's printing
Yep.
printing the whole HTML instead
Yes.
of rendering it. But there's a little bit of progress.
Rockin'. And so, like your views here, did you kind of have that generated, or are you kind of used to like kind of getting a setup and going in and actually creating these like templates or these generated?
This is generated,
Yep.
all of it.
Sweet, right on. And so you've got data. What'd you do with that? Did you kind of point the API URL, give your?
Oh, I got this. I built a fast API thing.
A little closer to the mic.
Really?
Which number is it? I can turn the volume up a little bit.
2.6.
You gotta kiss this thing, man.
Yeah, no. So no, it's just get generated. This is a fast API that I generated, and I generated the download script and everything, so the database is in place. The API works kinda. So it's just a matter of fixing fixing this.
Yep. Sweet nectar. Search operable or still? Yep. Okay. Still hanging out. All right. Rockin'. We'll let you back at it.
Yeah.
Question. You said it hasn't been obeying. Have you tried threatening its life? I've heard that works.
Ooh. Yeah.
Or telling it your grandma's in danger.
People get saucy with their AIs. Yeah. Oh yeah. Real saucy with that thing. No. Okay. I'm nice to it too, but when it's wrong, it's wrong. You know. It's gotta know. All right. Interrupted over here. ears. We're interrupting. Time to take a break. Here you go. Talk to us.
It's good. It's fine. And I decided to use something else new, and now it's on fire.
You're pushing up to a server right now.
Yeah.
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 So do you have stuff running locally?
Yeah.
Like
It's going.
operable?
It's fine.
Let's see it. The local. It's not fine. Or is it fine? Whoa!
It's fine.
Whoa! Here we go. Yeah. I think this is like the furthest so far. I'm pretty sure of it. Holy buckets. Now, what about, do you have like video playing working?
I don't know what that means.
Like clicking it and getting the... Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, to the live site. Yep. Well, you are far along. We will not keep you any longer. Get back to it. Yeah. Holy cow. Woo. All right, Richard. Oh, you getting along too. All right. So this is live.
Yep, so this is currently hosted on QuipVid.ozarksmade.net.
Holy
it has all of the videos on here. It's hosted from my server, so it's no longer pulling the videos from you guys' API.
Yeah.
And you can upload new videos as well. I made a demonstration of uploading a new video, which was just a screen recording from my laptop. So you can already upload new videos to it as well. And you can play all the existing videos too, like this one, for example. So all
I don't know what that's
videos-
doing in there.
all the videos work. There's also night mode as well, which I need to make look a little better, but there's night mode, so you can toggle the theme. And this is all running on my server 2025 data center with Node.js, Express, and IIS. So that's what we got so far.
Dude, crushing it. Get back to it. We won't hold you up either. Man, this is wild. All right. Whew. Heating up.
For sure.
Man.
I feel like they could start saying someone else is winning. AI go faster. Like
Right.
that's like
Yes.
the carrot and the stick.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. Any questions, comments after this? I mean, I'm pretty impressed with some of this stuff. Wow. Question? Yeah. We'll see if we can interrupt them again, too. Here we go.
I just have a question for anyone in the room. What are some of your favorite prompts that you've used?
Favorite prompts? Come on.
And I can share one of my favorites that
Kick
I've
it.
done. I haven't used AI extensively as you know everyone up here has, but one of my favorite prompts is asking ChatGPT to challenge my thinking.
Ooh,
So if I will propose like, hey, here's a solution, here's what I think, but challenge it.
Yes.
Pull it apart, rip it apart, ask me questions, provoke, just and have a back and forth with ChatGPT that way. But I really want to know what other people do as well.
Yeah. It is far too agreeable. That really grinds my gears. Let's hear these favorite prompts. Keep passing it around.
I do something pretty similar where I'll make a change and I'll be like, this is what I did and here's why. And I think there's a better way to do it, but I don't know. Like, what did I do wrong? And then whether it gives actual good feedback is questionable, but I do the same thing. I want to have it be more of a conversation and less. I don't like agentic as much. I use Ask a lot on VS Code's Copilot. And in general, I definitely feel like trying to get it to break things apart and like force it to think and tell it, like, say, no, what you just said is garbage. Like that was like, and here's why. And then be like, rethink what you did and like keep this in mind when you're thinking through it, because like I don't even know what that's about.
Excellent. It's for me, this is quite validating to hear because, like I said, I'm not in industry much, so it's cool to hear from other humans having the exact same experience.
So I needed to build a very specific UI for a project. It had to work a very specific way for the customer I was working with, and so I learned React using Chat and Claude, a feature at a time, basically. Like I treated it like a very junior dev. Give me a function that does this. Give me, okay, write me a couple lines of code that'll add such and such, so that I could ingest it and understand it as it went, rather than try to build the perfect prompt that was 2 pages long that would spit out the entire thing that I wanted exactly as I wanted it. And that actually worked really well. Also, I'm full-time job searching right now, so I'm using it for interviews. Like, here's a job description, here's my resume, quiz me on stuff that I say I know on my resume, and quiz me on stuff that's in the job description that's not in my resume, so I can give convincing answers for how I would find that out or learn it.
That's pretty cool. I bet, not knowing some of the jobs, of course, but if it's a more known company, pulling any sort of like known, hey, here's how they, interview kind of thing too. That's really cool. Brilliant. More prompts, more common prompts. Keep running this around. Here we go. Quick one that I've got. I'm sure everyone has this one, but I finally nailed it down. When sending emails, use it a lot for that. But I find, my best way is to just write it out raw and then, pass it in, and just got this really nice prompt now of like, keep this me, keep this everything, but remove the gross spelling errors, but keep the slang, keep the, whatever.
Yeah, I like the generative AI, but put it in my own tone or whatever.
Right.
One of my favorite prompts that I've been doing off and on, like over the past year or two of using AI, is based on what you know about me, draw a picture of a day in my life. And it's been kind of fascinating. A lot of times it's broken, which kind of sucks, but every once in a while it'll be like, based on your last 4 conversations, you like this, 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 and this, and you worry about this. And it draws a picture of someone worrying about the thing I'm worried about, fixing whatever. So that's kind of a fun prompt.
Yeah.
If you're ever bored. But one thing that I've found is a challenge outside of using it as a tool for developing is a lot of times companies and people say, how can I use AI in my business? Or what's our AI plan just to use AI? And I'm curious what the group or the building's thought is on, is that dangerous? Is that good? Is it a neutral thing? Does it depend on the business? What's your answer when someone says, how can I use AI tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody has a direct answer to that, and perhaps either the same person or piggybacking on that, I would be curious to talk for a little bit about somebody who is actually in pretty big industry and like actively in charge of, AI efforts for a team of, 50 or more, just something that's kind of sizable. Is anybody doing this? No. Dang it. Yes. I miss all the things. Yeah, that would have been cool. Were you there? Do you feel like you could kind of give a synopsis of no? I mean, because there's so much of just let's use AI, and incompetent leadership is just that. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So, MIT came out with a study recently that I think highlights the problem with AI in our industry. Well, any industry. Out of $40 billion worth of AI investments across all companies, 95% of them were found to have no effect on the P&L. And the reason being is because all these companies are looking for these home run hits. The fact of the matter is AI is not a home run hitter. It's about the base hits. It's about putting AI in the hands of your frontline workers, just like you would give a drill to a construction worker. The drill's not going to build the house, but sure as heck going to make that employee a lot more efficient. So I think what everybody's starting to come to realize is, hey, AI is not going to solve the problems. You can't just take this analog watch here and slap MP3s on there, right? It's not this magical thing, but it's a very powerful tool that if you expose your employees to it, you educate them on using it, and you engage with your employees, because let's be honest, there's a whole workforce out there that's grown up using Google, right? And so as we started championing this out at our company, I'd look at users who were like, hey, I can't effectively use this thing. It's like, all right, so let's sit down. I started looking at their prompts. It was Google searches. And it's like, I know how weird this sounds, but talk to it like a human. They went on the far side of the spectrum, right? It was like, please, thank you, think this was amazing. She came to me a week later and she said that there was a task that she had been trying to get done for a year and a half. and that she's like, you know what, I could have AI write the script for me, and then I could take that and put it into Canva. And it's a tool to learn and educate and empower your employees, not to replace them. And I think that's what everybody's trying to figure out right now.
That is a wonderful assessment. Thank you. Love it. Tom's got nuggets. Bam.
Hey, yeah, so as an engineer, years ago, right, it was always a matter of figuring out new technology, how it works, how to use it, and how to leverage new things that come out. And the hard thing was always research, right? So you'd go home, you'd make pet projects, and you'd try it out. You'd find some technology that worked, and you'd kind of live into it, right? And you'd have your little pets. Myke has Umbraco. He's got Horse Strap. He's got, a whole suite of things with, QuipVid. What I have learned now, though, that is the real benefit, is that the best thing that you can get when you're developing is to fail, right? You want to try something and fail as many times as you can so you can figure out what actually works and how to think about the problem. That's what they allow you to do, right? So you can try out tons of different technology and say, hey, I don't know anything about web servers. I'm going to try out Nginx and Apache and IIS and all these things for this Node.js project that I want. Fire it up. Hey, set this thing up in all these web servers and let's see how that turns out, right? You'll find out what fits for you and what works for you, and you'll actually get a really good picture of how web servers work. I think the information you get out of just researching and failing is the best thing you can do.
Hallelujah. All right. Levi, what time we stopping this? I can't remember.
We probably got 20 more minutes.
20 more minutes. All right. Let's analyze these screens for just a moment. Oh, man.
Is there one we want to go to?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just start on the end. I'll just check them out. Thinking. Pre-commit steps. Whoa, snap. Are we getting along?
I feel like the guy, what is that, where they break the fax machine? Page load letter.
Oh.
And they just start destroying the fax
I think it might be on here.
Yeah.
PC load
Yes.
letter. What the does that
Yes.
mean?
What? Let's find it.
I think it might be in there.
Yeah, it's got to be.
All right. So, can you give a synopsis where you're at? Committing up? Are you pushing up anywhere?
Check this out. There.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
It was a black screen, but now there's colors.
Hey, all right. Styles, yes. Adhering
Beautiful.
to design.
It's using Python somehow.
Love it. All right. Get back at it. Next song. All right. How we doing over there? Headphones. You here? Kevin?
How we doing,
Is that
Daniel?
right? I'm so horrible at names. Daniel. God dang.
What?
Just seeing how it's going?
Not good.
Not good. Okay. Get back at it. We want get back at it, man. Sorry. Yep. Man, I hate to see what's going on down here. Like, got it in the app stores already. Mobile apps. Hey. Nope. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Hey. Cranking? All right. Cool. Well, we didn't totally plan on what to do with all this dead time, but this is pretty fun stuff. Zip. Go. Wait, first clip. Whoa. Is that oh, did somebody upload that? Oh my goodness. Is that Richard's? Yeah, this is my, wait, what? Are you guys uploading?
Maybe gave out the URL a little too early.
Look at this. Yeah. Dang, man, this is incredible. Holy cow. So these two are going to be duking it out down here. And we're going to go down to the checklist with them, it feels like.
So I got a question. Is anyone going really hard on trying to do LLM stuff locally? Like buying lots of GPUs? I know Daniel is, but we don't get to talk to him right now.
Yes.
He's locked in. He's vibing.
Yes. We do need to hear from them at the end, though, and I want to hear
100%.
about that. But yes, anyone in the audience? If we have to, we can pull Tom. But somebody else has got to be messing with this stuff, right? No one's got What?
Yeah, I've used that one.
Okay.
I'm gonna be upgrading. It's not bad. I mean, like, they're really bad at tool calling, so they suck in like agentic mode. Like they cannot do that very well. I think the main one I've used locally recently has been the one from OpenAI, the 20 billion parameter that they open sourced. It's okay.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was a big.
Yep.
Yeah.
I really want to run the 120, but even like my 64 gigs of RAM machine can't do that. Not quite there yet.
All right, we'll go back to Tom back here. He's gonna chat. Yeah, we've got a machine in the office. It's got a name. Tom's gonna tell you all about it.
I forgot the question though.
Just talk to us about the machine in the office and yeah, everything about it.
Okay, so I realized that, well, we're a small company. Mike and I have been scrapping for quite a while to get where we are, and we're in a phase where we need to now grow quickly and stay small. So once I started realizing kind of the potential of speed increase, I mean, obviously this gentleman over here has shown something pretty fantastic regarding the speed that you can turn around. I realized that I wanted to engage with that, right? Had no idea what it took to actually run these things. Started looking about local models like Levi's talking about, Olama and LM Studio. Jim is going to know a lot more than I am. But yeah, so the same kind of models and concepts that you're running out here with OpenAI, you can run on a much smaller scale on GPUs. So I bought an RTX 5090. I spent about $5,000 on this machine to get some RAM and a hard drive and a pretty heavy-duty GPU, and realized, yeah, this is really cool. I can run it locally, but it's not nearly as powerful as the cloud-based models. So that's the big learning. You're not going to get that kind of performance, at least in the near future. Some of this latent space stuff is interesting. Some of the technology is interesting. But no, the local models just aren't going to cut it for the cost. With that said, what I am learning is that there are a boatload of processes that I run that can be GPU accelerated, that this machine absolutely crushes. So I've got text-to-speech, I've got a lot of voice detection and other just LLM processing going on that machine that are simple processes that it really crushes at, and it doesn't cost me any or much more money than what the office wants to pay for electricity.
Yeah, Tom's been in a bit of an AI silo, kind of on a mission to figure out how to come out on the other side for us, as a small company, like you said, to figure out how to utilize this. Because as a startup, figuring out how to, bring on expensive engineers is a bit of a challenge. And it's something that we're serious about, bringing on talented developers, but trying to figure out how to shoot that gap without having, the budget that these big healthcare companies have is quite an interesting thing. So it's cool to get to be a part of the turning, of an industry. So I guess as crazy as it is, hey, take solace in the fact that you're witnessing a hell of a thing. So that's cool. You got other questions, Levi? That was good stuff.
Anyone have an invite to the Sora app yet? I kind of want one. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Is that the GPT?
It's the
video?
GPT TikTok. Like they made a social app where you can generate AI videos and post them in like a feed.
And there was like a heavy emphasis on superimposing celebrity kind of.
A little bit. I know that someone I follow on Twitter a lot, Theo, he was just like Sam Altman doing all sorts of crazy stuff, singing an emo song on stage or the Skibbity toilet meme or something like that. It was hilarious.
Fascinating stuff. So cute. Yeah, Sora.
Anyone anyone here heard of the Primeagen? Got a few of them. So he's someone who used to work at Netflix, been a Twitch streamer for a while, and he has a whole crew that he collaborates with pretty regularly, and they just spent 7 days full live stream trying to vibe code a game and it was hilarious to watch. So it's actually the second version that they did 6 months ago. They did the first 7 days, and they wrote it all in Lua, which is hilarious, and did not finish. And so they attempted to do it a second time, literally just last week. They ended on Monday, and it was the first time around. It did not go super well. I mean, it kind of worked. They had some things sort of playable, but like now it's a full-blown game. Like, of course, it ran into something hilarious at the end where they couldn't get the project to build and upload at the very last day, so they couldn't ship it. But it looks like a polished game. But they didn't vibe code the whole thing.
Do they go into, like, is it shot and produced well enough to watch and like get tangible nuggets from their journey?
So it's a 24/7 live stream, right?
Okay.
Like it's nonstop for 7 days. And they have 4 computers up front. They used the Framework desktop.
Oh, yes.
Running the new Omarchi Linux, if you've heard anything about this.
Yes.
Anyways, I was following along pretty closely because I'm a super nerd like that. But anyways, they did a mixture of vibe coding. Cursor sponsored the whole event. And so they were all running Cursor, contributing to it. And it was actually like super cool hacker vibes because they were just like all pushing to master.
Yeah.
Like,
heck yes.
Nonstop.
Yes.
It was super good.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah.
We need to get Cursor sponsoring some dev
That's what
stuff.
we need
the
over
heck,
here,
man?
right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Gut this again and get that whole warehouse vibe going up here.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Sponsored by Cursor. Yeah. They had some they had this like culture kind of building where there was night crew and day crew because they had 2 separate, like, well, some people were sleeping, other people would be up late coding, and night crew was the funnest to watch in my opinion. They had
wacky.
Like it's a Twitch stream, so you can't play copyrighted music. So what did they do? They had someone vibe code music, so they were using an AI generated music platform, and they made some hilarious bangers.
It's about to get vulgar in here, isn't it?
Oh no! They need a beep.
That's a Freddy got fingered in there. Yeah, that's perfect.
Careful what you play. Oh shoot, what was I talking about? Oh, AI generated music. And it was super funny. Some of the things they turned into song. They took the entire MIT license and had that be the lyrics to some AI generated song.
Yes. Or like parodies of, they should have totally get past the copyright parodies of known popular songs.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually didn't even think about that until I watched it though. Like a long stream like that, like paying for copyrighted music, they don't want to have to get striked and stuff. So just gonna AI generate some stuff.
Silly laws.
Yeah.
QuipVid doesn't care about that.
All right, to all our contestants.
Watch this stream get banned.
This is going to be our 10-minute warning.
Yeah.
Officially.
Yeah.
So you guys got 10 minutes to finish up.
10 minutes. Oh. All right, we'll start here. We'll pass it down. Bam.
So I know a lot of people here are really into AI. That's like why we're all here, right? Is to learn and to see what it's like. I'm really hesitant to use AI because of how it was trained initially and because of the environmental impact. So I have a question, genuine question for anybody. Who can explain to me why you can ethically use AI?
The question, ethically use AI. This is good. I'm going to think about it for a second, but anybody feel free to raise hand if they've got a good answer. That's a good question. Oh, that's a quick one. All right. Yep. All right. Why do you think it is ethical to use AI?
I think all those ethical questions are super valid, right? Like, there are definitely some of the most evil people in the world working in AI right now. But at the same time, AI is going to come down all of our throats, whether we want it to or not, right? So if we can choose right now to do underpowered or local models, then that's the best option, right? There's no, it's like the old Marxist saying of no ethical consumption under capitalism, right? But you can get pretty close. You can get things naturally sourced or what have you. I think the same thing exists with AI. And if you don't want terrible AI shoved down your throat, you have to be a conscious consumer of it.
Yeah, good. Hey, sweet.
So once again, I want to reaffirm the validity of the ethical concerns of AI. There are simply a monstrous amount of them. But one of the things that I want to point out is that AI as it exists today is not going to be AI as it exists tomorrow or 6 months from now, and especially not 5 years from now. When we're talking about things like resource consumption, rare metal usage, water and grid domination, outsourcing to poorer countries and like competing for resources in that way, or like the human labor that is like paid in subpar amounts. Yes, all of those are very real concerns. But if we know one thing about technology is that it grows more efficient and more powerful the more that we use it. And I do think that it is a very high cost, but it is also something that we stand to profit from in like a general net humanity sense. And so I definitely think that the path forward is conscious of what those issues are and solutions focused for them in such a way that encourages better development of more efficient models.
Good stuff. Other thoughts on this one?
Ethics are certainly important. It's relevant to mention them. Who's to say that these machines won't be on the side solving these ethical problems and helping us find better ways of doing all of this instead of making the problem worse? Right now, they're no doubt stinky, inefficient, and generally having problems because of their creation, but that will change in time, and we better get behind it now. We still have relative control of these things, else we're going to be on the receiving end of our own problems in a more general sense. TLDR, I think AI is useful, more useful than it is bad.
Great dialogue. This stuff is certainly worth thinking long and hard about, because the thing I keep thinking of is technology's been around obviously for a while, but as we all keep saying, not at this rate. This rate is unreal. And there are powers in the world that are fighting for this, right? So both of these things are true at the same time. There are really serious things to be concerned about with wielding this power and the world control. And at the same time, it is amazing. Like, look what else you can do with it. So it's tough. And like, just being mindful of that is at least something. So I love that we're talking about this stuff. Yeah. More to add to the... Yeah, sweet.
So to get just a little poetic about it, the way I've thought about being involved in educating myself how to use AI, how it's being used, if I have a vested interest in a cargo ship not running ashore and it's pointed at the shore and going fast, I'm going to have a better time diverting its course from on the bridge than swimming pushing on the bow. That's sort of how I've taken up my stance on
it. I think that to claim that it has more benefit than negatives is a far reach right now, because it's so new and there's so many concerns right now with the lack of regulation, and then with the art community of sourcing from copyrighted material. Not that QuipVid cares about these things, but this is something that I think that we just need to watch and need to have these conversations, right? And kind of keep an eye on that sort of thing and measure this stuff, because like what Thomas had said, there's been this study about what is it doing to your reasoning skills and things like that. I think that if we have these things in mind, we can try and mitigate some of these issues, but it's definitely something that we need to keep in our forefront. Like I don't know your name, but like this person said, just being able to take what we know about the ecosystem as a whole and pick out the stuff that we're accepting of or and okay with.
To our contestants, 3-minute warning. Prompt faster.
I was just wondering if anybody had some useful MCP servers. I'm aware of like GitHub has some, ClickUp has one, Jira, like if you want to interact with your project management software, ClickUp, Linear, all those things. What are some good MCP servers that y'all use for your work daily?
So I don't have one that I use, but there's a vendor who they're like a Salesforce partner vendor, and they're really, really deep into it, and they've developed a Marketing Cloud MCP server, because Marketing Cloud is a much older tool with varied and archaic interfaces, and so it's a lot easier to work with if you just use the command line. And so they've created a couple of MCP servers. I can send you the videos. I have links to them.
I would think that most systems, like as hard as it is to keep up with it, I mean, any huge system probably is getting ahead of whatever the damn trends are, MCP and latent whatever and whatever's coming out next. Oh, yeah. The one that I'm curious, any designers in here, Melissa, anyone else? I'd be curious. Figma's MCP, have you messed with that any? No? Okay, yeah.
For this project, anyone who was working up here, if they had connected their agent to Figma, can download assets, can read classes, can derive what components might need to exist, stuff like that. So it can really accelerate.
Yeah,
I
haven't seen anybody use that yet. I'm super curious. I know that you got.
I never messed with AI. How do you do that?
Yeah, I don't.
So not every agent supports it. The major ones do: Windsurf, Cursor, Claude Code. I forget what the GPT one is that just came out. You configure a JSON file basically that all agents kind of. It's kind of agent dependent because each one's going to have their own preference of how to configure an MCP server or a collection of MCP servers, and some of them you have to host yourself. Some of them are cloud hosted, but they're essentially just a configuration file of servers that exist somewhere that the agent can point to, and it's a connection. It's an input-output server connection between an application and your AI agent that exposes certain tools, and each tool is typically like a API endpoint on a server somewhere, or it can be really anything, but they're generally a connector between an API and an AI agent.
Okay, thank you. I got research.
Nerds.
All right, we are at time. Real quick, Fred had a question in chat. I'm going to tell him to ask it in the server afterwards. He wanted you to know that he asked a question.
Yes.
All right, are we ready?
I want to see Fred's tattoos.
All right, everybody, pencils down.
Yeah.
No more prompting.
Yes.
Cancel your background agents. Daniel, you ready? So we are done. Are you ready?
So
time's up.
Yep, time's up.
I think we're gonna start with Kevin though, but I'm officially calling pencils down moment.
Yeah.
All right.
So the goal here, just talk about what you did, show it off, talk about the pain points, and talk about the items that were accomplished. Well, you picked it up over here.
Yeah.
Shake it off.
Testing. Okay. The pain points. I used Google Joules and Gemini. The pain points for my implementation were Google Joules and Gemini.
Can you explain Google Jules first, at least what you came to understand of what it is? I've never even heard of it, but that doesn't mean anything.
Okay, yeah. You give it a repo and then a task. It literally took 30 minutes for it to start running Python scripts in my PHP environment, which obviously never ended up working. So then I came back to Gemini, and it gave it its all. Let's see. It played videos at one point in time, and oh no, this is not mine. Where did it go?
There it is.
Yes, it
Yeah.
did play. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, let me show you this. I said, fix it, it doesn't play videos, and it got snappy with me.
Wait, does it actually not play it, or is it just not auto-playing?
No, it'll play.
Yeah, so it's just not auto-playing, which is a browser turd beyond belief. Autoplay on video stuff, yes.
Okay, so it did this after he called time, by the way, so I should not get credit for this.
Hey, if you go back there and go play another video now, will it autoplay, or is it just not have the attribute? It looks like yeah. All right.
Do you want to run through your checklist?
Yeah. All right. So is that all running locally, or did Jules like put that out on an actual live site?
No, this is running locally. I told Jules to commit it. Yeah, whatever Jules did.
Yeah, that's right.
Is irrelevant.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot.
Gemini did the work locally.
Gotcha.
Well,
So-
I guess it did apply the code locally.
Yes. So Gemini took over and did a React approach, it looks like.
That's what I started with, yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Inertia React.
Okay. So no shipping, content management, probably you just basically
hold on.
Okay.
Technically, yeah, I'm using Ngrok, so it's shipped. Like, right?
As long as his laptop's
somebody
on.
Can somebody reach it in the audience?
Yeah, here we go. Oh, shit. I closed that tab. Never mind.
No, you got to, but like, you do have it like tunneled in right now? You just don't have the tab open?
Oh, yeah, it's right here. Hold on.
There we go.
I need this point.
There we go.
Here
We'll
go.
call this
Wanna throw it
half points for ship. I don't know if many are going to get that, though. Private channel. But Levi will get it.
There we go. Yeah, I'll post it in
the hair.
Let's see it.
Oh, you probably got to
Good
go to
edit there,
/quips.
Richard.
Yeah. Hold on.
/quips.
I think.
All right, the link is in the Dev Night chat channel in Discord.
I guess you can try hitting it too.
I do think you got to dock points because I get an ngrok warning to enter the site.
At /quips?
That's a feature, Levi.
Good call.
Anybody hitting it?
I got a black screen.
There goes that point.
We have a title.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you do a /quips?
Yeah, at /quips, I'm getting a black screen.
0.1 point. That's yeah. All right. Content management actually usable. Collaboration. Do you have it push out? Is it up at a repo then?
Yes.
Like a public one?
Yes.
All right. Cool. So we got a point there. Collab.
Can you drop the link to that in the chat?
I sure can.
Guess the full point would be awarded if somebody could pull it down and actually boot it.
Oh,
and get the yes. And design. No, I don't know if anybody actually hit the design, but good job. All right, moving on. Excellent work, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Daniel. I know how much you love talking into the mic. Oh.
Thank you.
Joe.
Oh, your screen went black.
Unreal.
Almost. Come on.
There
we are. Well, I got somewhere.
Ooh, yeah.
I think this works. Nope. It did work at some point.
There we go. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
And, oh, there's a bunch of repeats, but that's fine. And I think it plays too.
Why are we allowing our own technology to dredge up our painful
Better just
past?
leave it here.
Why is it that when I type my own name into my own company's search engine, the fucking internet rains shitbolts down on me? I want this to stop.
Thanks. So good. Yeah. All right. Did you get this shipped out to?
No.
Okay. CMS. We're just displaying here.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, this is what you got.
Excellent. And search though. Yep. Search working in there. One more time. Give it up. Whoop. Actually, sorry, I didn't. Sorry. Talk through just a little bit of your process. I forgot that part. My bad.
Well, I started with my own little AI here. It
There we
didn't
go.
do very well. It's the Open GPT OSS model running back home. So I switched to Claude, really, and that helped.
Oh, so wait, you started on yours and then switched over to Claude?
Yes.
Yes, yep. So the one at home, probably like Tom was saying, right? Like not nearly this behemoth, right? That Claude is.
Nope.
Right.
I mean, it does a decent job, but not for this. I don't think.
Right. So cool though. Can you? So this, you said this was the open source one that they put out?
Yeah, GPT OSS.
Yeah. So cool.
The 20 billion or
120.
120 billion. Ooh, he's got some hardware to run that one.
Talk about your hardware. Nope.
It's a 10-year-old computer with a 3070.
Okay.
I don't know. I never know what these things mean. Is that good?
It's a few years old.
Okay. Dinosaur. Love it. This is too cool. Scroll up to the top. I want to see what like your first prompt was in here.
So I had I started with the project here. So the idea was to use Claude to write the prompts for the AI at home because it doesn't have any memory. It's a single turn. So the first prompt it created was this, and this actually worked pretty good. So here's the script it wrote.
Nice.
And I think it ended up working. This is a download for the data from the QuipVid thing.
Yeah,
So.
right. So that fetched all the stuff and basically got you rocking.
Yes.
At what point did you go, shift it over to Claude?
About here, down here somewhere. I gave up.
Was it pretty quick or did you hold on for quite a while?
250 seconds or so for this.
Okay. Nice. Cool. All right. And then that went over into traditional pretty Python stuff. Love it.
Is there a repo, public repo for this one?
No.
Okay.
All righty. Go on down. Excellent work. All right, Audrey. Kick it off. Let's hear about it.
First off, everybody sees that says deploy live. That took half of the time. I rabbit holed and had to make it work.
Oh, snap. This is awesome.
Links are in the Dev Night chat channel, both the live link and the repo.
Yeah. The live link doesn't work, but it says deployed and it has a green check mark, so I count that as a success.
Yeah, that's, yep.
All right, so I use ChatGPT mainly. I ended up using ChatGPT. I didn't use much of JetBrains this time around just because there wasn't a lot of in-file after I got started. There was less coding and more trying to get it out there. It is version controlled on GitHub, and I do have that posted in the chat as well. But everything seems to work from localhost. Oh, and I use SQLite for login.
Rock on.
medication. That's it.
Does the submit go?
The submit?
Yeah.
I don't have an image to put on here.
But it does. Have you tested it? Does it work?
No, I did not test. I was trying to get render to work.
All right. What do you think the likelihood is? Like, is it totally not wired up, or do you?
No, like maybe I forget. I really got sidetracked.
All right,
I
all right.
squirreled.
Well, this is impressive as heck. So okay, talk a little bit then about your process. So we saw it's on Vercel or whatever, it's shipped out there, not running, but it is running locally, and you use ChatGPT. Is that right?
Yes.
So let's see your first prompt.
Are you sure?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Do you really want to see it?
Yes. We share prompts all the time at the office. If you guys aren't sharing prompts, you better start doing it. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Trust no one.
Love it. Damn straight. Damn straight. So cool. And you stayed primarily in here.
I did.
Yep.
I did. I really expected to switch back because I'm more used to using the JetBrains AI assistant, but this wasn't doing too shabby, and it automated some of the directory setups and my file structure, and then loading its own code into the script. So it was nice.
So cool. And did it just use like raw PHP?
Yeah.
Nice. What the heck does raw PHP even use for like? Well, SQLite. So I guess that was just probably has a nice little client to work. Yeah.
I don't know.
So cool. You guys are so smart. What else you want to add about this? I mean, yours is well done and pretty straightforward. Anything else you want to add?
If AI ever gets a body, I would probably throw hands with it. That was very frustrating.
Yes, yes, yes.
Good answer.
All right, Richard, duke it out.
So mine is hosted publicly with HTTPS, so you shouldn't get an SSL error. It has a certificate. QuipVid.ozarksmade.net, and it uses all of the ones from you guys' QuipVid website, and then you can also add new ones. So you can go to upload, register with an account. A couple people have done that. I would like to mention it stores the hashes it stores the passwords encrypted, so they're not in plain text. I'm using JSON for my database because I like JSON. You can see the passwords are not stored in plain text. And then the quips are also stored in JSON. Again, JSON's my preferred data format, so you can see all that stored in JSON. And then I'm using Node.js and Express for this. I already mentioned I'm running on Windows Server. I use ChatGPT mostly. I didn't actually end up using Visual Studio Code's autocomplete and Copilot as much as I thought I would. ChatGPT worked pretty well for it. So I actually have quite a long chat with it here. So this was the first prompt. And then these are the main files I'm using. The upload does work, and then you can actually play the videos. So and let me change the audio here so you can actually play these.
Smart move, staying put, bro. I got your play right here.
So the videos work. You can copy the link. So if you go copy the link, that works too. You can embed it, stuff like that.
Posterify.
Yep. And then the theme doesn't look the best. It does kind of work, but most browsers will force the theme, so that part isn't really too necessary. You can search for things, so search works.
Yes.
Again, it's publicly hosted. If I was going to have collaborators, I would probably upload it to Azure DevOps. I don't really use GitHub much, but I'm a huge fan of Microsoft Azure, and I do have Azure DevOps, so I could upload it to Azure DevOps if I wanted to, because I have an account with that. And then you can use Git and version control and all that sort of thing. So, yeah, any questions you have?
What do you have a quick little README or anything? If it were up in a repo and somebody were to pull it down, any onboarding instructions?
I probably would just tell ChatGPT to generate a quick README, and it would probably do it in a few seconds, and then I could add the README there. Azure DevOps is really great for collaboration, so especially if you're using Microsoft Intra ID. So, yeah.
Rock on. So shipping, but we've got it up live. Audience access, I imagine. Yeah, we had uploads, so clearly. Content management, certainly in there. Actually usable. Yes. Collaboration, almost had it. And then design, it is quite clean. I do love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think by way of check marks, I think it is a clear. Levi, am I wrong? I think that's all the check marks.
I think Richard crushed it.
Yeah, give it up, man.
Thanks, guys.
So, question for Myke is, when is he going to point the domain name
No
to his
kidding.
server?
Yeah. Oh, yes. We need to get this collabed and keep going. This is so cool. And I didn't know what it would be like to throw this challenge out because I knew we'd have a just spread of different talent up here, and so this was really fun. And you all absolutely crushed it. Getting up here and doing this stuff is none too easy. And you all did amazing, and I loved seeing all of these different approaches.
This was so cool.
Yeah.
I've been up here doing this before, and it takes a lot of guts to get up
Yes,
front
yes, it
and
does.
live code in front of everyone. So please give them all a huge round of applause.
Yeah, huge, great job.